Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to our live. You joined Love is Not Judgmental, and we thank you for being here. And we also thank you for allowing us the privilege to have this discussion with you this morning. That's very important. It's affected a lot of people, unfortunately, more specifically men. Well, we know rejection can go both ways, but we're just going to talk about the older male point of view this particular time. So, my name is Marvin Kane. I'm your host. I'll be taking you on this journey with myself as we learn and make some discoveries. So, like we mentioned, today's topic that we're going to delve into has to do with heartache, older man rejected by a younger woman. Wow, that has to hurt, right? Well, it does. And it's a story that unfortunately many men can relate to, and probably for some good reasons. And here we're going to discuss openly. First, understanding the emotions. Like, we want to be empathetic, but at the same time, we want to understand heartache and how it's really incredibly tough. It's a big disappointment, it's a setback, and for many men, it feels like failure. And failure is just one of those things that as you go through life, you want to learn to kind of keep in the background and you want to keep your successes right in front of you. So you kind of, it's all about what it is that you focus on. So when it comes to age gap relationships, these days can be really profound because as you get older, this may be your last hurrah, so to speak. So, if it doesn't work out the way you intended, then perhaps you may have to make some mental adjustments. So, we're going to share some personal anecdotes, some experiences. I've seen a lot of my friends go through the same situation, but I've also seen many of my friends have very successful relationships. Now, we want to emphasize one thing that this channel is not about targeting people, oh, younger woman, because she's a younger woman. This channel is about love. So we're talking about those individuals who may have met someone on a job, may have met them in other ventures. Maybe they could have been at the store or something and just came across this person, a conversation developed, and voila, a relationship bloomed. But we're not talking about older men going out with a focus on, oh, I only date younger women. No, that's it's kind of creepy if that's the mindset. You should be more interested in dating a woman who fulfills your needs and meets you emotionally and spiritually and uplifts you through life and who you share commonalities with. So these are the challenges that we're going to be discussing as we go through the different stages of this program this morning. And always keep in mind that there are really differences between two people from two generations, a lot more different than people coming from two different points of views. Because when you involve yourself in age gap relationships, you're dealing with a lot of emotions. It's all emotional. And we're not saying oh, no, it's not that kind of emotion. Pretty much kinetic emotions, the emotions that you just kind of like hold and keep like processed amongst yourself. So age gaps, they bring a very unique challenge in that regard. And then you have societal judgments, the way society is going to look at you. There's a lot of misunderstandings that come with these relationships. And it's vital that you want to communicate openly and address these concerns. And that's what we're doing today. We're addressing the concern. There's a variety of reasons why a younger woman may not want to be with an older man. The older man seeing what he likes, okay, he sees beauty. It's no different than, and I'm going to use myself as a 55-year-old man. I'm a 55-year-old man. I am attracted to women my age, point blank. That's just me. Every man's not attracted. So if I see a woman in her 50s and she's got, they call them crow's eyes, and she's got those beautiful wrinkles around her mouth, to me, I find that appealing. I just find that appealing. Some men with the same appeal look at a younger woman in the same way. They just like youth. And they kind of, in their mindset, see themselves as very youthful, filled with much vitality. So that's why it would be that kind of focus on the thin line. They're not necessarily in pursuit of her age, because age is a number. You cannot date or marry a number, but you can marry a person that fits within that parameter. So, like I said, there's a lot of misunderstandings that come as a result of this. But the beauty of it all is that you have to do what makes you happy. Other people can have their opinions, your friends can have their opinions, but your friends are not the ones ultimately you're waking up next to be happy. It's your marriage mate. So that communication in that regard, not just to another person, but self communication, some self reflection. You've got to have courage to be able to speak the truth to yourself. Some people lie to themselves all the time. So this younger woman may not see you the way that you see her. So there's a rejection. She may not be into older men. And in many countries around the world, women don't consider age. Age is just not a factor. If you ask, and I've done this, I interview people all over the planet, right? I've asked women in Saudi Arabia, I've asked women in China, I've asked people in Japan, South Korea, Vietnam, Africa, 20-year-old women, not 20-year-old, but women in their 20s, like 26, 27 in that age grade. I remember asking one lady, I said, so age is not important to you when it comes to dating? And she says, absolutely not. She says, she didn't say age was a number. So I said, well, what if the man was 80 years old? Would that be a factor? She says, as long as he can make me happy and if I can make him happy, but I have to feel, this is what she said, I have to feel like I'm making him happy. And that's an important part because relationships go from one emotion to the next. If you're in a relationship and you feel like that what you provide is not of interest to your partner, wow, won't you be upset? And that happens sometimes. That sometimes what happens is like the older man is not making his partner happy. So guess what? She rejects him. And I'm not talking about like divorce or adultery or things like that, but she just kind of pulls away and he feels that and he's not happy about it. So there's a start, there's a middle, and there's a conclusion to these type of relationships. They're very mechanical. So everybody needs to take an opportunity for self-improvement. I mean, personal growth, personal development. You have to really be in touch with who you are. You have to know yourself. You just can't like fly into a relationship, like get into a relationship and say, oh, she's pretty. What is it that you like about? Oh, she's pretty. If that's all you've got, you're not going to have anything fulfilling. You're not going to be able to give her anything that she feels that makes her comfortable. And chances are that relationship's not going to last. But imagine if you got the right mindset and you find a woman that has the right mindset and she just happens to be maybe in her late or mid 20s and you're in your 40s, you can really have a very spectacular relationship. But it's that honesty again. So there's some coping mechanisms when a man gets rejected that he's just going to have to deal with. First of all, you have to accept the rejection for what it is. You cannot be a stalker. These women have the right to choose. You have the right to choose. And that's a valid point. So sometimes people go, I want to date a woman from Nigeria. That's a personal preference. Sometimes people do go, I like younger men. I like black women. I like white women. I like women from this part of. These are personal preferences, and personal preferences are things that make an individual comfortable. And so is age. Age is a personal preference. I only like to date women my age. That's a personal preference. But when you go beyond personal preferences and you start to kind of like cue in on an individual and you see a heart and you see a brain and you see the development of a conversation and the gift of being able to get to know a person in an isolated fashion, just you and her from a male persona, it's pretty spectacular. So you've got to know who you are to be able to properly deal with the rejection that can happen. And the truth of the matter, rejections hurt. They're tough. Nobody likes to be rejected. Nobody likes to feel like they are less than, not good enough, or that, they're just not likable. But some people do carry those personality traits around with them. But there are healthy ways to cope, such as talking with, somebody in your support system. One of the things that a lot of people do, and I've done this even in my own relationship failures, is I just rejected everybody else. She rejected me, and I rejected the whole world. I decided, you know what? I'm going to deal with this on my own. It's never a good thing to deal with it because you just destroy your inner person, your inner self. You just start to rip yourself apart. So, having a support team, having friends and family that you can talk to, and if you don't, there are professional therapists out there. And if you can't afford professional therapists, come to YouTube. There's a lot that we talk about here to help you to kind of wake up that amazing person within you so you can get back to being who you truly, really are. And we want to help you to do that. But therapy is good. And sometimes people put a stigmatism on therapy, but that's just what people do. People don't like, in general, society always has a judgmental point of view. That's why we say on this channel, love is not judgmental. Again, this is about mental health. You have to do what's good for your mental health. And sometimes these matters can become a depressing set of circumstances for a period of time. So it's a very difficult thing to deal with, but you need to handle it and accept it for what it is. If she don't like you, she don't like you. The beauty of, life is that there are a lot of people out there. You've seen some couples, match couples. Those relationships are built on love. Sometimes it's hard for us to process people who we consider to be normal. That is, the general population. What everybody does is what's considered to be normal. But there's some people that break the norm. You'll see really short men dating really tall women, or really tall women dating really fat men, or really gorgeous women dating really ugly men. I mean, it's just a mixture. It's just people know what makes them happy. And some people have figured out what those things on the other side of love is, on the other side of relationships. They figured it out. It's not just a surface feeling any longer. So because they know that surface feeling, they know what to look for. Like in my mindset, the first thing I think about is what I lacked in all of my relationships is I want peace. That's the real thing. Like, she doesn't have to be a beauty queen. She doesn't have to be the smartest person in the room. She doesn't have to have $1 million in a bank account. But can she bring me peace? Can she be upset because I'm gonna get on her nerves, make her upset. But can she reason with me logically? See, when you find that level of compatibility in a relationship, that's a priceless thing. But one day what happens when you have it and you lose it? So you just gotta be grateful for what you have at the time that you have it. And you have to maintain a very positive mindset so you can always be in the forward moving position. Gratitude is the neighborhood that you want to live in. You want to be grateful for those little things. And when rejection does come, don't focus on it. Just kind of move on. It happens. You don't like it. All right. Find somebody else. Find someone who really meets your need and look at it as a learning experience, because ultimately, what just happened when somebody breaks up with you is they create for you another opportunity of getting to know yourself. Because maybe that thing that you saw in her wasn't genuine in her. Or maybe it wasn't the real emotion that you were trying to project as far as this is the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with. So it's better to know these things before you make that strong commitment of marriage, but you can move slowly. There's no clock on the speed of relationships. Just imagine you are 2 years into this relationship. That's all you want out of it? Of course not. You want the relationship to propel you into the future for longevity forever. So that part, the end, once you get past that 2 year hump, the rest of it is forever. And that's a much longer part. So it's really an investment. You're investing in your time, you're investing in your desires, you're investing in your goals, your support system, you're investing all these things so you can get to the other side of that courtship phase where it can be life happily after. So yeah, keep maintaining that positive attitude. And you want to emphasize the importance of always growing. Every challenge in life, we can't say it any better than this. It's just an opportunity to grow. You learn from it. So maybe I did this wrong. See, we all make mistakes. Not one of us are perfect. And as amazing as your partner may be to you, she's not perfect. And guess what? He's not perfect either. That means you between a he and a she, you're not perfect either. And you don't want to act perfect. You want to acknowledge that people are different. People have different high points and different abilities that they're able to use to make them powerful vessels. And this is really good because when you fail, and I don't know if failure is really the right word, but rejection definitely is. When you're rejected, you start growing at that instant in a different direction. You're not growing with that person this way, but now you got to go up and you've got to look down on your life, where you've been, where you're coming from, to see how not to repeat some of the mistakes you may have made. And I know this sounds like you did something wrong, but yeah, you did something wrong. You didn't qualify this relationship enough to make sure it was the one. Maybe you moved in a little too fast. Or maybe the person you picked just wasn't ready, but that you should have seen. That's why you take your time and you just don't rush to try and get them to come up to the level you are, especially for older men. You can't like take this woman and try to make her 55 and she's 24. You can't do that. She's 24. Let her enjoy being 24. Or if you're 44 and she's 34, it's a 10-year age gap in that particular scenario. You can't rush her. You can't expect her to think the way that you think. And you never want that to happen anyway. You want people to be individuals. So turning the pain into a strength, that's all it is. It's an experience that just makes you not only stronger, but wiser. So we've talked about the importance of moving on. And life doesn't stop at heartaches. Always remember that. It's a constant process, an interchange and an exchange of abilities to pursue greater things. Life is just beautiful. Life is very progressive. So we just hope this information that we've just shared with you has proven to be beneficial. Feel free to share in the comments any of your thoughts and your ideas. If you have questions, we'd like to answer those on our next live. But we hope that, this has helped because rejection is a part of life. We live in a very negative society. Our world is negative. But the beauty is it does rain on good people and bad people, but it also rains on fruits and vegetables too. So always try to change your focus and see the good in everything. So today we've explored the complexities of heartache, an older man that has been rejected by a younger woman. Wow. And yes, it goes both ways. It could be an older woman rejected by a younger man. It happens. That's just the way it is. But remember, you're not alone. That's why you want to talk to people that you know. That's why you want to go to that support network that you have. And you may not even realize you have a support network, but you have a support network. Tap into it. Talk to your friends. Be open. If you're down, don't just keep telling people, hey, how you doing? I'm fine. You don't say I'm fine and you look like you said. Tell them the truth so you can get the help that you need. So I appreciate each and every one of you. I thank you for being on this journey of expressed gratitude with me as we're working together to have conversations about how we can become just better people. And don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to share this information. Just hit the share button and send it to some of your friends that could benefit from this in their privacy. And the next time we get together tomorrow, because we do this every morning at 7:30, we're going to talk about why younger women love being in age gap relationships and why older women hate them for it. Oh, yeah, we're going to get into the nitty gritty. So we look forward to that discussion. Again, we'll see you in the next video. And we want to thank you for taking your time today to be with us. So have a good day. Take care of yourself. And remember this.